Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Escape from Tarkov we're gonna have a look at, and last week there was an event in this game which sorta led to the final release date of the game, as you can see here, November 15, 2025. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some smaller guides. We are streaming it now, but I will export this to YouTube as a video. And we're gonna go have a look for new players, sort of what it's all about. We're gonna have a look on all the maps and things like that. Now, before we start with that, 1.0 will have story missions. And story missions, we have been playing this for several years in beta. We've been testing out things, different maps and so on. But 1.0 will have story missions which none of us have ever seen. So how it all will work will be a surprise for all of us. But from what we gather, you're supposed to go in, you will start somewhere, you were part of a private militant group, and you were sort of, somehow or another, you got separated from your group and you left behind and you drop in Tarkov, in the Norvinsk area. You don't know anything, you don't know where you are, you don't know what's going on, so you're gonna have to discover everything. There are, for instance, some traders in the game. At this moment in the beta, they are a bunch of people in a menu where you can do business with. When the game releases, more than likely we're gonna have to meet up with these people to actually discover them. The same with the maps. We will have no maps more than likely. We're gonna have to do some story missions, and then probably by transit or so we're gonna discover the other maps. That's sort of how it more than likely will work. What we have been playing over the last couple of years, I think the beta started in July 2017, so we're talking about 8 years here. Or were that alpha tests? I think it was beta. Alpha tests were in 2016 already, I think. And over time they added more maps, they expanded maps, they made some changes, they added a bunch of quests that we were doing. In total about 350, I think, meanwhile. But those are just side missions. Side missions of the main storyline, which we never seen. And the main storyline is, of course, the goal there is to escape from Tarkov. And not everybody will escape from Tarkov. Might have something to do with trader standings and so, as I will explain as we go through this. So in this first episode, to the road to release, we're gonna have a look on, quickly gonna go over game settings that I have. That's gonna be different for everybody depending on your system. And things like that, and then we're gonna do some map guides from the maps that we have available. We'll probably do some offline raids, put everything up so that we can explore everything and explain everything without being bothered by players or AI or bosses or any of that sort. So we'll start with the basics. Depend already on your system. I'm running NVIDIA, so what I'm gonna do is gonna go to the control panel. So the first thing you can do is you have your 3D settings. You go to program settings, and then you can add escape from Tarkov. If it's not in the list, you look for the escape from Tarkov exe file and you just add it here. And then there are some things that you can change, like texture filtering. You can put them on here and put them on performance. The VSync you can put off here. Then you don't have to do all that stuff in game. That will make the game perform a little bit better. If you put some things here, we haven't changed too much on this here though. But that's something you can do, like the VSync you can put off here, then you don't have to do it in game and things like that. And then the next thing, you want to change your desktop settings potentially. This is what I'm running at the moment. Clarity 50%, contrast 50%, which I think is basic Windows settings. The gamma I think by default is on 1.0, I have it on 1.15. The higher you put the gamma and the digital vibrance, the lower you probably have to go change your settings in game. Digital vibrance I have on 60%. I think by default is on 50. Some people are playing with 70, 75%. But then your game is going to look way more brighter and more colorful to begin with. So this is what I'm running, let's say, outside of the game. When you get the game, there are a few options. Let me I think it's just EFT. Yep, there we go. That's the game we're playing. That is the website. That's also where you can potentially purchase the game. There are different versions available. Standard, Left Behind Edition, the Prepare for Escape Edition, and the Unhurt Edition. As you can see here, I'm playing with the Unhurt Edition, which is the highest available. I think it's about $150 plus tax, so I think it comes down to $180 nowadays. But that gives you access to EFT and also EFT Arena. EFT Arena is another game which is linked to EFT Tarkov, and Arena is more like a COD multiplayer or CSGO or a Valorant, where you play 5v5, deathmatch, checkpoint, things like that. You also have a mode called Lost Hero, where you play just solo for like, 10 minutes I think, and you just shoot people. If you die, you respawn and so on. It's just about shooting and getting kills, but whatever you do there, it will increase your skills, your endurance, your perks, whatever you want to call it, your endurance, your strength, your vitality. You can level it up there, and then when you boot up Tarkov, it will transfer. It's synchronized. Your profile is synchronized between both games, so you can go back and forth between those both games and sort of level up your skills. For instance, leveling up the skills goes faster in Arena than it goes in Tarkov. I do believe there's a limit to like level 30 or so. You cannot transfer more than level 30. The skills can go to level 51, which is the maximum. Then you have elite skills. Now, there was an update last week which was sort of bug. You played a few rounds of Arena and you had maximum skills in Tarkov. Some people have been cheating and abusing the hell out of that. So more than likely they will adjust it in a few days. There'll probably another update where they will give maximum skills to everybody. Sort of the last thing that we can test before 1.0 comes out. So we saw the outside settings, so let's boot up the game. The difference between the different versions of the game is it's mostly stash space and the space of your secure container, pretty much. I will explain you what that means in a second. Not sure what the price is lately. When I bought the game, I think a standard was 35, and an Edge of Darkness, which at that time was the highest. That has been replaced by the Unheard by now, but that was about 100, I think, at the time. Plus tax, and the tax is depending on your country. In some countries it's 6%, in other countries it's 12 or 19 or 21 or... We're living in Europe over here, so over here it's 21%. So if I would buy the highest edition now, it would be 150 plus 20%, about $180, something like that, or 180 euros in my case. So this is sort of where you arrive when this game boots up, and you're sort of in the PvP zone. You can also go to PvE zone, where you only play against AI. That is basically another account, so you can play 2 accounts. Basically, you have your PvP zone and your PvE zone. So you have the game, and then you can play either as a scav, which means you play as an AI from the AI faction, which also means that the normal AI will not shoot you because you're one of them. Bosses and so, they do not care much, they will shoot you. And then you have your PMC, your I think the official abbreviation is Private Militant Contractor, but I just call it my personal main character. Whatever you use on this guy, this is your own gear, you will lose. This guy, you will get some gear. So that's already something. The scav you use to try to make some money, and with that money you buy gear for your PMC, and then in the next raid you play with your PMC. That's sort of the difference between those two. Your scavs are your money makers, pretty much. And then here we have these different maps. Now, when the game comes out in 1.0, I don't think we're going to have any of these maps. And that is of course because you will be dropped in, you're left behind from your group. You're separated from your group, you're left behind, you don't know anything, so you're all gonna have to discover it. And that's probably where the story missions comes in. You're probably gonna have to do some story missions, and then step by step, more than likely we'll be able to ground 0, which is like the tutorial map, the initial map. That's more than likely where you will start. And then you can transit to streets, and that's how you will discover streets. And yeah, you can sort of see how these maps are linked. You can, by transits, you can get through these different maps. So you cannot go from factory to terminal, for instance. That will not work. There is no connection. But you see there are different connections, so there are different options to, by transit, go through these different maps. Now in this beta that we have been playing, these maps step by step have been released, and we can just, let's say if I want to go reserve, I can just click on that, I click next, and we're on reserve. The only map we don't have is terminal, which is the terminal, the final end. That's where you're supposed to escape from Tarkov. But Nikita, the CEO of the company, already said that not everybody will be able to escape. So we'll see how that goes. But the idea is you go through the story modes, and for those who escape from Tarkov, then you go to the end game, which sort of is what we have here. Then you will have this, and you will just be able to select the map and go play wherever you want. But you first need to get there by going through the story missions. How that works, I cannot tell you. Nobody can tell you because we have not seen the story missions yet. They kept them as a surprise over the years for whenever 1.0 releases, which we now know is November 15th of this year. So that's sort of how you start up the game. You have your character, and then this is where your versions of the game sort of come in. This is all the gear that you are wearing, some extra rigs, some backpacks, some heals. You have your secure container. Whatever is in here, you will not lose even if you die. So that is already one thing. And that is also depending on the version that you buy. If you buy a standard edition, you will get, I think, a alpha container, which is a 2x2. So you have 4 slots. The left behind is also 4 slots, I think. Then you have prepare to escape edition. That one has a beta container, I think, which is 2x3. So that one has 6 slots. And then you have the highest edition, which is the unhurt. Then you have a gamma container, which, as you can see, is 3x3. And then you can do a bunch of missions in the game. The quests that we are doing now, the side missions basically. I think there are about 350, and if you, not all are required for the Kappa container, which is a 3x4 container that you can earn by doing quests. I think about 265 at the moment you need to do to get the Kappa container. So you don't need to do all 350 quests to get that container. Then you can also, through Arena, you can do some Arena quests which are related to one of your traders. And then you can also get a Theta container, which is a 2x5, so that's 10 slots. So Gamma 3x3, Theta 2x5 is 10, so it's 1 slot more, and eventually the Kappa container, which is a 3x4, 12 slots. Whatever you can put in there. At the moment it's a bit special. Seeing we were sort of in a hardcore wipe, we can't put in any medication, any ammo. Normally you can, but this was a bit of a special wipe that they did. Sort of the last wipe before the release, they sort of messed around with some things. So at the moment we can't put any ammo or medication in there. Normally you can, but you can put keys in here. You can put injectors in here, stims you can put in there, and then all kind of other stuff, food, drinks, hideout items, which are kind of these things, will all become clear once you start playing. So those are sort of, you have the secure container, that's depending on the different versions, and then you have your inventory over here on the right. Again, the standard edition has 280 slots, in other words 28 rows of 10. If you buy the left behind, I think it's 380 slots. Prepare for escape is 480 slots. And then at one point there was Edge of Darkness, that was 680, which then they have changed. They removed that one and then replaced it with the Unhurt Edition. Unearthed Edition gives you a bit bigger pockets over here, so you have 6 slots in your pockets instead of 4 normally. And then they added a few lines of splash space as well, so if you now have an Unhurt Edition, it's 720 space. So yeah, that's where your difference in the prices. The game itself you can play with whatever edition you have, but obviously with a standard with only 280 slots of space, you're gonna have to be a little bit careful what you do with your space slots. On Hurt, you have a little bit more maneuverability, as you can see, because we can put a lot of stuff in there. 720 slots, that's 3 times as much as a standard edition. That's sort of the main differences, I think. And then you have your traders. At this moment, 8-9 people in a menu, and this one sells mostly Russian guns, and so she mostly sells medication and food. This guy is a little bit of a dodgy character. The benefit from him is that even if you find broken guns or so, he will buy it. He will buy everything. He's a bit of the black market trader. This guy also has some guns, but different ones than Prepper. Peacekeeper is more of the American side of things, I should say. He deals only in dollars, which is one of the currencies. The main currency is rubles. Then you have euros and dollars. Peacekeeper is the dollar guy. He also sells mostly American guns, MP5, MP7, M4, things like that. And then you have Mechanic. He's your weapon parts, and so he's mostly selling. He's also selling some guns, but mostly all these little weapon parts. There are 1,001 of these things. Then you have Ragman. He's more of the gear guy. Helmets, backpacks, things like that you can get from him. Jaeger is more he's the forest guy, so he's more about shotguns, snipers, things like that you will be able to find on him. As you can see, several shotguns, a couple of sniper rifles. And then Rev, he's more or less the arena guy. He only trades in GP coins, and GP coins are things that you can earn it through this game a little bit, but mostly from doing daily missions and weekly missions in the other game, in Arena. You can earn GP coins and then transfer them here, so you can do business with him with GP coins. That's sort of the difference with these traders. But as I said, these are just guys in a menu at the moment. 1.0, not sure how it works. We probably will still be able to get them in the menu, but you're gonna have to unlock them by meeting them through the story mission. That's sort of what we make of it from the info that we have at the moment. How it all works, we're gonna have to see on November 15. But you probably will do some story mission, and you will meet one of these guys, and then you have them available in the menu probably to do some business with them. Now, at this moment, there are some multiple choice quests here and there, which gives you the option to turn them into 1 or 2 or 3 traders. And that is where I think the game will change a little bit in the final game. Like for instance, there's one quest called Chemical Part 4, and you can turn it into Prepper, Therapist or Skier. But Prepper and Therapist, they sort of get along, but they don't get along with Skier. So if you turn in Chemical Part 4 to Skier, you have to do some quests with the other two to regain their trust. That's sort of how it works now, but meanwhile you can still do business with them. I expect that not to be the case in the final game. I think if you, for instance, Chemical Part 4, if you turn it into Skier, the other two will be pissed off, and more than likely they will be closed for business, and you're gonna have to regain their trust by doing that mission. For Prepper, you have to give him some grenades. For Therapist, you have to give her different keys, so you're gonna have to find those keys, you have to go and find those grenades to turn them in before you can do business with them again. That's sort of what I expect. At this moment, you have to do those quests, but you can, at the same time, you can still do business with them. I think in the final game that's not going to be the case, and there are some other missions like that. So it might not surprise me that in the final game that at some moment in time we're going to have certain traders available and others not available because we decided to go with one side or the other, and the other ones are pissed off and they will not do business with you unless you do some quests to regain their trust. And there are a few of these multiple choice quests around, so that's what I expect that in the final game it will work like that. Other than that, you have your overall stats, you have your gear, that is sort of where we are now. You have your health, so you can see if you're up to shape before you go in. If not, you're gonna have to heal somewhat. And then you have your skills, which at the moment is a mess. Normally these skills, you can get them to elite, but that usually takes you like a few months, a whole wipe almost, to get them to maximum elite, unless there is some bug like it is with the last update, where you play a few rounds of arena and you suddenly get, like for instance here, endurance, in my arena rates, 2,400 points, that's like 24 level that we gained there, and that's because of a bug. So some people played a few hours of arena and they have maximum skills, which is level 51 elite, then you will see the whole bar in orange. That's what a lot of people have at the moment. But some other people, it was available, that bug, for like, I don't know, 8 hours, 12 hours, something like that. Some people were still asleep, so they have missed out on it. So now we have a very unbalanced player base at the moment. You have those with maximum skills and those who don't. So I expect one of the next days to there be an update, and I think we're all gonna get maximum skills. Because they cannot reset the bug, because yeah, that's sort of very often how Tarkov works. It's either code is 0 or code is 100. In other words, they can put them on 0 or you can put them on maximum, but nothing, they cannot revert because they cannot keep the character data of your guy. And so yeah, that's it. It's sort of the same with the loot. You're not gonna get like decent loot or okay loot. No, either there is no loot in certain rooms, or the room is full of loot. So it's very often a case of 0% or 100%, and the same with the skills. So what they could do is they can revert it in such a way that they put you back on level 0 or on level 1, or they can max them out and nothing in between. So they cannot like revert that bug and say like, okay, we revert the bug and we're gonna put him back on level 8 endurance, because that's what I gained in that arena, in the few rounds of arena that I played. I only played 2 or 3, but it gave me 24 levels of endurance. So normally I would have been on level 8, to give you an idea. And then the strength, I don't know, strength didn't work for me somehow. Although we played with an overweight character, two rounds or so I played, I did not gain any strength, so apparently that was not working. So now we have this situation here where I'm level 2 endurance and level 6 strength, which is not great. But other people played a few hours while the bug was around, and they have maxed it out, so we'll see. The CEO of the company put out a tweet like, hey, what is the last thing you guys want to test before 1.0? And a lot of people answered, yeah, give us maximum skills. Scene, you know, some people are on maximum skills due to the bug. Give everybody maximum skills and reduce the inertia a little bit and things like that. So I expect one of the next days, or maybe a few updates through the next weeks, where you will see those things happening. We're gonna get maximum skills, we're gonna get some other stuff that they will unlock or things like that. So we will see how it goes. And then we have the map. Yeah, the maps are completely useless, the in-game maps. I would suggest, if you want to look for maps, go to the wiki. Let me see if I can get this. I think it's EFT wiki. Yeah, that's the wiki. You can find, you can search for a name of a quest or something, and it will be explained there what you have to do, where you have to go. So that is definitely, if you're gonna play this game, this is definitely a site that you want to bookmark. If you want a bit a bit of an overview, I have a personal document that I made as well, where I sort of put everything together, items you need, keys you need, and then the different traders with all their different quests. So then you have it all in one overview instead of going to the wiki and going over it one by one by one. That's sort of what I did, and then I put it in a Google Doc. So yeah, whatever of those two you want to use. Let's go back to the game. So yeah, these maps I would just ignore. Just go with the wiki and then search for a map. You will find an overview. You will have some TD maps, screenshots, 3D maps, interactive maps. There are all things available there. So use those, I would say. And then you have some achievements throughout the thing. Didn't bother too much with achievements, as you can see. There are 72 different ones meanwhile. Over time I played with 9. See, I mostly play solo. I like Tarkov from 1 to 30, level 1 to level 30, that's always fun. And then it becomes a bit tedious. And then we usually mess on till we have maximum trader, which is at level 42. Like now I play till level 28, and then for instance the Battlefield betas came up, we played that for a few weekends. And now they did an update where the market becomes available again, but you need to be level 35, so we don't have flea market at the moment. Our own fault, obviously. We didn't play enough this wipe. I don't know what we played. 300 raids. But in total we have 4,300 hours. Might sound a lot, it isn't. Some people have 15,000 hours in this game, so we're not the best shooter, we're not the best aimer, but what we do have is knowledge. Knowledge is one of the best skills to have, I think, in this game. Map knowledge, quest knowledge, locations of those quests, things like that. If you know all that, that makes it a bit easier to go over it. And then a couple of wipes ago they came up with a prestige system. I didn't bother with it at all. But meanwhile there are 4 prestiges that you could potentially get. What does that mean? That means you grind through the quests, get your Kappa container, do a few additional quests, and when you prestige, it resets you back to level 1 and you have to do it all over again. The first time they came up with it, you could just prestige 1 level, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and then they added a second one, and then this wipe they added 2 of them. So people they have played through it, speed running as much as they could. They are prestige 3 now. They have reset in the last couple of 2 weeks, let's say, and they are doing it all again, trying to get to level 4 prestige before 1.0 releases. As far as I know, I don't know how high it's gonna go, but at least 10 prestige levels are sort of planned. So after of 1.0 release, you can still get an extra 6 prestige levels. And that gives you like, it's mostly about cosmetics or so. It's not going to give you an advantage in any way in the game. It's going to give you some marble floors for your hideout and things like that. Some extra hand movements and things, gestures, stuff like that. Emotes, whatever you want to call them. A special dog tag you will have. Some of the higher prestiges also give you an extra voice line. And is it level 2? Yeah. Prestige level 2, you can get an extra daily task and an extra weekly task, which will give you more XP and things like that. It's mostly cosmetics. It's not like nothing game changing. But yeah, you know, people like to do that. Give them something to play for. I didn't bother with it. I don't know if they're going to reset these prestiges. Some people have prestige 3, prestige 4. It is possible that they're going to let you keep your achievements that you have gone over, or give you an extra achievement if you were part of the beta or something like that. And that they reset all of these? I don't know. I sort of always thought, like, you know, knowing BSG and Nikita, and would not surprise me if he resets that. So I never bothered with this prestige. Might be a mistake to make. It's possible that he lets you keep your prestiges that you have grinded over, which means that we have some catching up to do whenever 1.0 comes out, but I just gamble on the fact that they might reset these, and then you have to do it all over again. So that's why I never bothered with the prestige to begin with. That's sort of yeah, the different things that you can do within the game. Obviously, there are a bunch of tasks that I have open now, but you start with some initial tasks on the ground zero, and that's what the first map that we will have a look at. That's sort of what I'm going to do. Is we're going to do some offline raids, and we're going to go over the global area of a map. We will point out some things, extractions, the general map layout, some tasks. We're not going to go over every single task, but I will point out some task locations for those who are completely new, and will give you an idea. But yeah, of course, in this first episode, we have to go over all of this. Trading, as I said, those are the traders. You can do business with these people. They start at level 1, which let's say take the first one, prepper, level 1. This is sort of when you start the game, this is what you have, right? It's not that much. And then level 2, level 3, level 4, and so on. It will be a lot of more things available. If you go, for instance, over here, I have her on level 3 at the moment. So let's see, level 1, this is what you start with, right? So not much you can get from her in level 1, but you can get some heals, you can get a few keys which are important in the beginning of the game. They're mostly quest keys, so you can barter trade for them. Like this key here, for instance, you need a drink, some crackers, some food, and then you can get that key which is needed to open the door for a quest. So that's one way of getting keys. Other ways are, of course, finding them on the map. But some of them were a bit harder to find, so they made some barter trades for some of these keys. That's level 1. Level 2, she sells a little bit more barter trades for other keys. A couple of more cases that you can get your hands on, including a key case. This one can hold 77 keys, I think, and it's only 6 slots in your inventory. That's where all these cases come in. Less space in your inventory, but inside pretty big, some of them. Level 3, a bit more cases and some heals and things like that. And level 4, a few more barters for like healing stims and things like that on her. And that goes the same for the other traders. Let's see, for prepper here, Jaeger. He sells a bunch of craps and shotguns and so on. Level 1, level 2. They will add some more ammo, a few more healings, a few more barter trades, also a food crate on level 2. Level 3, he sells a bit more ring mounts and scopes and things like that. Grenade case as well, barter trade. So yeah, if you find these things in the raid and you bring them out, 5 of these lighters, 15 matches, 8 of the repellents. If you have these items, then you can barter trade for a grenade case. And then level 4, some more stuff, and that goes sort of for all of these traders. So that's sort of the top of the menu, and then the bottom you have the traders. You have the flea market, which you can basically buy from other players. I don't have it available, although you see some stuff here. These are things we can get from traders. But you can also get stuff from players once you have the flea market. See, we are not high enough level this wipe, because they put on level 35. Normally it's level 15, but for this wipe, a bit of a special wipe, we need some more levels before we actually have flea market. And normally you can put up like 4 things at a time, or 7 things at a time, depending a bit on what version of the game you have. This wipe they changed it, so you need to be level 35, and you can only put up 1 thing at a time. And it needs to be found in the raid. So if you die with something that is not found in raid, then you can't put it on the market. If you survive with something, then it is found in raid, then you can put it on the market. And then we have some builds. This is where you can build your guns if you have the gunsmith unlocked. Here you can find every item of the game in the handbook. And then you have your messenger, where you get your messages and your rewards from all of the different traders, and also you can message with some other players or friends that you have, although most people use Discord obviously nowadays. And then from time to time there is an in-game survey, then also that one is on the bottom here. And then you have the cogwheel over here, which is your settings. Game settings, you can change some things in your menu, or while you're in the game. Show your quick slots, show your stamina bar. If you don't want that to be shown, you can put it off with all that things. If you don't want too much stuff on your HUD, you can put a lot of stuff off here. I'll just slowly scroll through it, what I have at the moment. Some people have put the automatic RAM cleaner or physical cores on. I didn't bother with it. FOV is vertical FOV. So if you would have your FOV on 90, for instance, in another game, that is, I think, converted about 63 here. So I put it on 70, which is, in another game it will be about 105 or 110. horizontal, but this is vertical FOV, so that's something you might have to convert. Some people are playing with 63, 65, 70, 75. Some people just max it out, which is 75, which is about 120 in another game. Head bobbing you want to put off. Malfunctions, if your game if your gun jams or so, then you can get a pop-up there. So you will see that it jams, but then you get a pop-up, oh, it's jammed, and then if you don't want that, you can put this off. You can block group invites if you don't want to be invited by other players. You can preload the hideout so that it takes less time to load in your hideout, but it's all extra memory it's going to use, so I don't have all that stuff off. Graphics, I'm playing on medium at the moment to get a little bit more of FPS because the game is not greatly optimized, and on some maps you're struggling. I'm playing on 2K full screen. If you're obviously if you want to tap out a lot, then you can do borderless or window mode or something. It's gonna lose you some frames, but it's always better to play on full screen. And then we have some stuff. I'm just playing with anti-aliasing. I do not have any DLSS or FSR on because it doesn't work very well, so I just put it off. And then all the stuff on the bottom here we just put off. I do have high quality color on, gives you makes it a bit more colorful. You can put that off if you want. And then Streets of Tarkov, lower texture resolution. Streets of Tarkov is the biggest map. A lot of people are struggling. When they brought out the game and then they expanded a few times, I'm running an i9 processor with an older graphics card, an RTX 2080 Ti, which is still decent, and 64 gigabytes of RAM. I was getting like 60-70 FPS on that map. The latest video cards, but then we're talking about like 4090, 5090, whatever. They are getting over 100, but not always though. But it's like then a few wipes later, it always came down. Now inside some buildings, I think we're getting 35-40. It's really badly optimized, that map. So you can put this thing on, Streets of Tarkov lower texture resolution, then it runs a little bit smoother. It's stuttering though. They need to do something about that map. And hopefully they did with the 1.0 build, because the map has not expanded over time. A few times they expanded it, but even with the latest expansion, which is like a few wipes ago, we were getting 60-70 FPS on an online rate. Offline, we probably get a 90 or so, but then 2 wipes ago, it suddenly lost some FPS. A last wipe as well, so yeah. That map doesn't run that smooth. Especially if the boss is around, and so you're getting like 40-50 FPS on some systems. It's always a little bit of struggling on that map. And that's why we have that lower texture resolution in. Post-FX, that's something that you play around with in the game. Brightness, saturation, clarity, colorful. This is what I played with eventually this wipe. We're messing around with it as every wipe. Sometimes it's a bit too bright, or it's too... certain maps are pretty dark, then you might have to increase your... that's why I have it on 50 now, because most maps you can play 30-35 brightness, that would be fine. In combination with the digital vibrance that I showed in the beginning of the video. But if you go to like something like Factory, which is pretty dark lately, after the latest update, they expanded that map a little bit, but they also made it way darker, which is not great. Also the shopping mall, you might have to increase it, because it's also pretty dark in the shopping mall. That is the interchange map. That's basically a big shopping mall. Then you might have to increase your brightness a bit, because Factory and interchange are pretty dark on certain places. So yeah, it might depend from map to map what you put your things. This is what I play. You can play around with that when you're in the raid. You can go to settings, post-FX, and then visualize it. You can play around with these sliders and then sort of put it up there. This is what I have at the moment. And sound controls, as always. There is a VoIP, so make sure you enable it. And then in your controls, there's somewhere a button that you can push to talk, so that your mic is not always open. And then here, yeah, you have to go over it and put it what you like. Every key can be used 4 times, I think. Yeah. You can press it, which means you press one key. You can double press it or double click it. So that's double click. You can also put something on release. So when you press a button and you let it go, that could be also mapped separately. And you can hold the button as well, and then you put it on continuous. So yeah, that's why you have release, continuous, press, double click for most of. So you can use any key 4 times if you want. Why is that needed? Because yeah, if you scroll through these things, you will see there are a lot of keys needed. This is one of the reasons why it never will come to console mode, unlikely. You will have no way of playing that with a controller. There are way too many things that you can do. We're not down yet. Now we're down. So yeah, that is like, you need, even on a keyboard, you're mapping that keyboard 2-3 times, basically. And then you have some sensitivity things that you have on. That's of course depending on your mouse. Some people are playing with 800 dpi and then the mouse sensitivity on 0.35 or 38 or something like that. If I do that, I have to throw my mouse to the other side of the room to actually move, because I have a Logitech mouse with 25,000 dpi, so that doesn't work. So I think I have it on 3000 now, with 700 here, which makes it about 2000 eDPI. But that's because my mouse has so much DPI possible. If you have a normal mouse, you can play on 800 and then 0.35 or 38 or so, somewhere in that range. That will that's what most of the people are playing on, I think. But that doesn't work if you have a 25,000 dpi mouse. If I then want to just turn around 180 degrees, I have to throw my mouse to the other side of the living room. That's sort of all the menu stuff, I think, that we sort of went through now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go mapping, and we're going to start with ground zero. Why we're starting with ground zero, I don't know how it will be in the story mode. People always said like that you would start in on streets. You have the theater at some point. You have theater square, and behind the theater square is a big ass skyscraper. It was always said that that's where you would start the game on 1.0. You would be somehow or another, through some story mission lore, you would end up in that building, and that's where you start your game. Now I don't know, because the idea behind that was that streets would expand at least 3 more times, which they never did, because it was not optimized. It didn't perform very well. People are struggling with that map. So if they would expand that even more, like 3-4 times, that would be even less performance on that map. So they decided to not go through with those last expansions. So that also means that they might have need to adjust the story mission. And then it is possible that we, for instance, start on ground zero. Why ground zero? Because that is the initial map. That's the tutorial map. That's where you do every wipe again. When we start playing, you're going to get like 4 or 5 quests on that map, which you have to do before you can do anything else. So I'm assuming the storyline will eventually also end up on ground zero as your first map. But we'll see in November, obviously. So what we're going to do is we're going to go PMC. You can select the map. Obviously we're going to select ground zero. And then yeah, it's not the best time to do this. The time, you can choose daytime or nighttime. Now, what does that mean? It's about 7.5 times, I think, IRL. So if you play 8 minutes times 7.5 is about 60 minutes. So 8 minutes IRL is about 1 hour in game. So if you play 24-25 minutes, you will have covered 3 hours in the game. So I'm just letting it run till, let's say, 6 AM. It's still going to be dark, but it will get light very quickly. So you select the map, you select the time. Let's do the morning time. You go next, And then if you want to practice, that's what we're going to do. We're going to put it in practice mode or in offline mode. Then you have to enable this one. If you don't enable this one, you just click next. Then you're on the online servers. You will run into players. You will run into AI. You will run into buses on some maps. That's a bit harder to explain things, as we are trying to do in these episodes. It's a bit of a guide thing, let's say, for especially for new players. So we're not going to be bothered with too much of the stuff. So we're going to put some stuff off. We're going to make it online, and then we go into game settings. And then you can meddle around here. The problem with this offline mode is that very often you're going to get some rain during that race. It's going to give you the different, although we have not selected random weather conditions, it's going to give you a bit of everything. A bit of sunshine, a bit of rain. You also have seasons, summer season. At the moment we are in fall season, I think. That they have started with the latest update last week. November, December it will start winter, that will run to February, then we're going to get spring, and then somewhere May, June. If you play somewhere around that time, you're going to get summertime. So at the moment we are in autumn or fall, as some like to call it. And then you can put the AI as in online. You can enable buses. You can do some other stuff. You can also you can put the low AI, medium, or you can make even a horde that they pushing you. You can practice it all. We're just gonna put it on none, which automatically also don't put the buses on the map. So what we have done now is we put the offline mode on, and we have say no AI, so we will be the only ones on the map. Give or take a few out of boundary snipers that might shoot you on some maps, but normally you're not going to run into anything if you put it like this. So this is pure practice mode. You're not going to gain any XP, you're not going to lose anything, things like that. So we're just going to have an overview of the map, and I'm going to do a couple of episodes, probably one episode for every map. But obviously this was the first episode, so obviously we had to go over some settings in the menu and things like that as we go as well. And then you just click next. This is your gear. You can insure here if you want. You can insure all, then we can insure this whole gear that we have here with us. It's going to cost you 46,000. Then you can insure if you get shot by an AI or something and nobody loots your body, you will get your stuff back. More or less. You will get your gun back, but you will not be ammo in the mag, for instance. So you're not gonna get your ammo back and things like that. On a maps like labs, the laboratory, there is no insurance. So don't bother insuring on that map because you will not get it back at all. Now I'm playing solo, which also means I normally don't insure. I've tested that one wipe where I insured every time. I ended up that wipe with around 100 million rubles, I think. And then we had one wipe where I tested it sort of similar amount of rates and similar situations as the previous one. And I didn't insure at all, and I ended that wipe with 150 million rubles. So insurance, if you play solo, is actually costing you money. Some people still will insure. If you play in a group, it's a bit different because then your teammates can pick up your gear and throw it over a fence or in a bush so that nobody can find it, that you are guaranteed to get it back. Or they can bring it out and give it back to you. So then if you play in a group, it's a bit of a different story. But if you play solo, it's a choice you make. If you're going to fight some bosses and there's a great chance that you're going to die to the AI, you can insure. If you are not intending to fight bosses or even avoid the bosses, you sort of know where they can spawn once you get a bit familiar with the game. You can avoid the bosses, then doesn't mean you're not going to die to AI. You can always die to AI, but we did a test, one wipe without, one wipe with, and for me, it's costing me more if I insure. That's my conclusion that I did after those 2 test wipes. That's why I never insure. Unless we play with groups, or unless we have some quests where we have to go kill bosses and guards and things like that, then there's always a higher chance you're going to die to an AI, then you might want to insure. This wipe nobody was insuring because it was a hardcore wipe and the insurance was so expensive, but last week's update sort of reverted that, so now we have normal prices again. But a couple of weeks ago, if you want to insure your whole kit, this kit's not even a good one, this probably cost me 300,000-400,000. a really decent kit costed you $1 million on insurance. Not something we could afford, so nobody was insuring. But now they reverted it, so now a kit like this has a decent helmet and some guns and gear and some other stuff. So yeah, now it's costing 46. That is okay. A couple of weeks ago, this was probably $500,000 for like a basic kit. So we're obviously not insuring. Meanwhile, 6:30, so it should be light. So we'll have a look on this map. This is not such a big map. It's a tutorial map. It is basically one big street. And as always, there are different spawns. So you could, for instance, go to that wiki link that I posted there in the chat. And you just type in Ground Zero on that page, and it will give you an overview of the map. Several 2D, 3D maps available that you can use on another screen to learn. It will also give you a list of all the extractions, and some are normal, some are a bit special. So yeah, we'll go over that once we're in the game. Obviously, since we're doing an offline raid, it will not take that long to get in, because you're pretty much running it on your PC. That's why it takes only like, what was it, 20 seconds? If you do an online raid, you might be sitting matchmaking there for a few minutes. No, this is not the best spawn around. So what I'm gonna do is... Still dark though. We'll go sort of to the middle of the map, and then I will explain you. There are a few options though, right? You can spawn in that corner over there. You can spawn in that corner over there, and then, but if you just go up the ramp here, you will sort of come more or less in the middle of the map. I think we can go through here. There we go. Now you will see, if I'm not mistaken, there is one here. Yeah, you will see some numbers over here, and that's, for instance, something you can find on the wiki maps, sort of explaining you what these numbers mean. These numbers, it's sort of like it's a building or an area, and there are like 7 areas, and that sort of, seeing we're on number 4 here, that sort of tells you already we're sort of in the middle of the map. As I said, it's not such a big map. That over there, that big building, if you run around a little bit on this map, you will see that building somewhere, depending where you spawn. That is the Terragur building. This is sort of area 3, and it starts over there in that corner. That's what the Emercom site. You can, if you spawn on that site, then you're gonna have to extract somewhere over there. If you spawn on that site, you're gonna have to extract somewhere over there. That's sort of how most of the maps work. You spawn in on the west side, you're gonna have to extract on the east side, or the other way around, north to south, and so on. So that's sort of the basic of how it works. If you press O, it normally shows you the time left in the raid, in this case 32 minutes, and it shows you the extractions. If you double tap O, it's only gonna give you the raid time left, and also the clock in the bottom right corner. In this case it's 6:50 in the morning. I think it's the other way around normally, but I switched them up because I found it easier to just single tap O and get all the extractions available. As you can see, we have Nakatami, and so we don't have Emercom because we spawned on this site. Emercom is also one extraction over there. So we're gonna go there first. Why? Because that is sort of area 1. And we're gonna go over this map, and this is, I'm running on this road here because this is pretty much what this is, this map. This is this road. And then you can go left and right up that road. You can also go underground, the whole road. There is an underground somewhere. That's sort of where we spawned, but I came up the ramp and sort of came to the bottom. But you can also go underground. You can also go all the way west to east underground as well. So as you can see over there, no, because it disappears. It's because it became light, I think. Oh, there we go. Goes on and off. But this is area 1, which I think is called the elementary area. Not that important. In such a way, you see a bunch of buildings, but at least in this beta that we have been playing, there are no quests there. The buildings are not open, you cannot go in. So, but this is area 1, elemental global, as you can see. So this whole area here is area 1, basically. And in the corner, over there, you will find some med tents, ambulances. So this is the Emercom side of things. And this is also the extraction. If you go over here in this corner here, if you spawn on the other side of the map, this for instance is the Emercom extraction. It's always open, you come here, you've done your business on the map, you just come here, you can extract whenever you want. Just make sure, especially if you haven't killed anything or that, you were just doing a quest, you were with a pistol or something, you quickly run through, did your quest, get out. You need to stay 7 minutes in the game. You need to have a certain amount of XP to make it a survive. If you didn't kill anything, you just did your quest and avoided all fights, and you just run here, then you need to wait 7 minutes. 7 minutes will give you more than 7 minutes in the game. This is I think a 35-minute map. So you need to be below 27. And then you can extract and it will be a survive. If you extract earlier, it will be a run through and it will not count. That if you brought out some things, that's fine. But if you have a quest or something with you, quest item, it might not count. And then it's not found in raid, and then you can't turn it in, and all kind of shenanigans with that. So normally you will play longer than 7 minutes, but sometimes there are occasions where you just want to do something quickly and get out. So make sure you're not in a run through. So this is area 1 with the Emercom over there. No quest that I immediately can recall on this site. Yeah, there is like a quest, initial quest where you need to find some medical items. There's an ambulance there, there are a couple of metal bags in that tent, there's a dead body as well. You can usually find some medical items, healing, bandages and things like that. Those are all medical items, you can find them over there. So that's one way of getting your quest done. One of the initial quests. So, now we come to here, which is area number 2. Also has a name, we'll look at it. Let me think about it. Yeah, there's one quest here where you need to pick up a bottle of wine. And where do you pick that up? In the ASIP winery, which is on that corner. So this is area 2. The Skyside buildings. So that is all this. You can go in there. In the back is a bit of a restaurant where you can find all kind of foods which you need for initial quests as well. So easy to pick up foods over there. And then you have in this winery all kind of bottles of wine. And one of the quests you need to find an old bottle of wine which can be anywhere here. So it's a bit of searching all of these shelves. It could be over here, over there. It could also be in the background freezer area there. A bit of searching when you have that quest. So this is all area 2. We'll check at the end as well. We'll always go back to that middle so that you can sort of follow along where we are. So this whole site is area 2. There are a few special things over here as well. There are, for instance, three ways of getting out of this map. You have the Mira Avenue and it says flare. What does that mean? That means that the Mira Avenue is over here. And you can see like it says sort of dead sign thing. A sniper is going to shoot you. If you go past this thing here, the sniper is going to shoot you and you are dead. Also in this offline mode that we are doing here now. But there is this dead body here. You can loot him. And what he's gonna have always, unless somebody picked it up, but if not, he will have the green flare. You can put that over there. You can also put it in your special slots. You put a number on it, which is the quick slots over here that you are using. So just by hovering over it and press on a number on your keyboard from 1 to 0, You can fill up these slots here, which are sort of quick buttons that you can press. So, and then you have number 8 here. And then if you walk forward a little bit, somewhere on the right bottom of your screen it will say green flare area or signal flare area or something. And then you just take that thing out. You sort of look straight up and shoot that thing. It will give you a green light. There we go. I shot it a bit too high actually. You should short it a little bit more in a 60-degree angle or so. And then you can walk forward and go left of that truck, and that's your extraction. This is one way of getting out. And then the sniper will not shoot you. That's why you have to shoot the green flare. If you do not shoot the green flare, you just go run through, try to get through this extraction, it will not work. Sniper will shoot you, you're dead. So that's one way on this area to get out. The other one is over here. And this is a transit, as you can see. So what's going to happen here, you're not going to extract, you are going to transit. You're going to go back to the menu, you're going to load into another map, in this case, Streets of Tarkov. So this is the one of the transits that you can use. And if we go to the other side, there are a few things you need to be careful of here, but we have this building, the Tar Towers sales office. There is a safe out there that you can loot, but that's about as far as you can go. Don't go any further here. You can loot this safe if you want. We'll have some money or some special items. Yeah, see, there is a quest going on at the moment where you need a lot of these military flash drives. You're going to find a lot of these thumb drives around the map. So yeah, you can loot it a little bit. Don't go any further because over there it's full of mines. Claymore mines. You will not die if you step on one, but don't run through it, you will die. If you step on one, slightly, slowly turn around, walk back from where you came, heal up, you will be fine. Don't go any further. If you detonate the second mine, you will be dead. So immediately if that happens, if you walk on one of them, immediately stop, turn around, come back on your from where you go, and then heal up. But why do we do? You can go into this office, and there is a extraction here as well. Somewhere. Maybe it doesn't work in offline. Let me see. Oh, it probably will not work in offline. We have the SCAF checkpoint co-op. No, that's not the one. Which one is it there actually? Oh, it's the one with the code. Right. So there is a. Is it mentioned here? Oh, I don't think it works in offline, but in some filing cabinets you will be able to find a piece of paper with a code on it. If you find that one, then you can extract here. Then you sort of have a private extraction. We haven't found the code, that's why it doesn't show up, but if we would find the code, it's right here. Somewhere here in this corner or whatever, behind this office desk here. So that's another extraction. So that is on this side here. 3 different possible ways of getting out of this map. So you have the coded extraction, the private extraction if you find the code. You can find it around the map very often in filing cabinets and so. So that's one way of getting out. You have a transit to another map, in this case streets, and then you have the green flare. If you didn't bring a green flare, that dead body should always have a green flare. Other than that, anything else here that we have to mention? Yeah, we'll go down the path over there. You see that light over there? That is the utility key. It's like a little bit of a room where you can find some weapon parts and some guns, and if you have the utility underground key, that is over there. That's that door right there. I'm not going to mention all the keys on all the maps, but in this case there are not many keys on this map. That's why we will mention it. Utility down below there, left side of the ramp, if you go down. So this is area 2. And then over here was area 4. There is also a restaurant on top there. Again, more food. In the beginning you need you have some quests where you need a lot of food. This is a perfect map to find food. Talking about food, we're still okay. 60 energy, 67 hydration. If not, you can drink and eat a little bit to get it back up. Something you need to keep an eye on, especially in the beginning when you don't have a lot of metabolism. And then we have this big building over here, which is the Terra Group building, area 3, basically. You can come from Emercom, go through the garage and go in. We're just going to go through the front door in this case. So we're thinking on the quests as well as we go. So, building 2, winery on the corner is one of the quests. Emercom, you can find medical items, is one of the quests. And then there is one where you have to pick up a hard disk. And that is in this building. You go into the back here. There should be a dead scientist at the back here. And that guy should always have the key for the office. There it is. The science or the scientist key. You just pick that thing up. Do you need it? Not really. You can also jump through a window and get in there, but let's do it properly. A couple of dead bodies that you can loot, duffel bags, all kind of stuff you can loot. We're not going to loot, we're just exploring the map completely for new players, let's say. Go upstairs. And then you have door number 3 and door number 4. Door number 4 is actually the one you have the key for. So you can open that and then open it up. And then on that desk over there will be a hard disk. Now, if for some reason, if somebody picked up the key and they died with it or whatever and they didn't open the door and the key is not there and you're on that quest, there are other ways of getting it. You can just go through door number 3 and you just go on this edge here and walk in and then jump through the window over there is another way of getting in and out if you do not have the key. But in this case we had the key. So you just walk in here and the hard disk should always be somewhere on this table or on the seat or on this desk below here. It should be here somewhere. That's another of the initial quests. Now of course we're running around here in an online round, nothing is bothering us, but unless you have a really quiet server, this is not the way it's gonna go on an online, but just, you know, in theory, if you sneak around a little bit, you could potentially do all of the quests in one raid. All that I showed you now. Medical items you can find there. The key and the hard disk that you have to pick up you can find there. The winery you have to do later because you have to complete these sort of quests that we were doing here to unlock the winery. So you're gonna have to go at least one time back. But it's better to wait a little bit and then combine another 3 quests and then you can do in 2 raids, you can do all the quests in here. Over here is another way of getting out of this map. Although in online there will be a car here from time to time, most of the time. This is an offline raid. The car is actually, oh yeah, it is there. There it is. It's always the black SUV. I just didn't go far enough. And here, normally this is around 7,000 that you have to pay, and then if your karma goes up or you have intelligence center in your hideout, we'll talk about the hideout later, but if you have those centers, then the percentage goes down a little bit, you have to pay a little bit less. This wipe they made it 40,000 for a car, but normally it's around 7. And then once you have your higher skills and so, probably 3,000-4,000 to get a car out. You pay the driver, you get like a 1-minute countdown and then you extract with the car. Also one of the quests, you have to extract on this map with the car. It's one of the quests for one of your traders. So those are all things you can do. Medical items, the scientist, hard disk. And then you also need to check some over here. The Empire building, this is area number 5. You go in here, go upstairs. There's some barbed wire here somewhere. There it is. Try to avoid that by sort of doing some parkour and then miss it. Because this is what you have. Your guy does not like that. It will increase your immunity and vitality and so by walking through barbed wires. Several filing cabinets like these things, I mean. You open that thing, all kind of loot in there, but you could, for instance, potentially find the code in here for that extraction that I showed you earlier there. Some of these filing cabinets will more than likely have it. And then you have to walk up to this machine gun here, grenade launchers in some cases. This is also a quest. You have to go to this one and you have to go to another one, which we will show in a second. That's why I came up here. A lot of loot here around as well. There we go. And back out. Also these weapon crates. You find weapons in there, weapon parts. So we go back in normal here. Another quest which comes later. That's why I always say, like, wait a little bit. You do the medical ones, you do the hard drive, you do the car, you do these 2 machine guns. We just saw one. I will show you the other one in a second. Those are quests that you can do. And then not that long after that, you will get another 3 quests. The winery, as I showed you earlier. The Knossos diary, which I will show you later. And you also need to go to the office with the mine, which basically means you have to come to here. There is a save in there, but don't go in there because there's also a claymore in there. Unless there is a dead body and somebody already went in it, the claymore went off, then you can go in there and loot that save. For the quest, you just need to be somewhere around here. You will get the quest completion, and don't go in that room. You will be blown up by a claymore. And this is the Unity credit office key. That's about the only 3 keys you have on this map. You have that underground utility thing that I showed you earlier. Over here you have the Unity credit bank. That is this office. There is a save in there and some filing cabinet. Although I think the save is locked, so it's not such a great key on this map. Let's go back to the road, because everything is depending on the road. As you see, number 5 over here. There are sort of 7 areas on this map. Restaurant up there, 1st floor, 2nd floor, you can find food, drinks, medical items. How much time do we have left? 13 minutes. And then we have building number 6 and building number 7, basically. Those are the 7 areas on this map. And then you have this black BMW here, is the what's it called? Shady contractor, I think, where you have to find a diary. The diary can either be on the seat or it could be in the trunk here. So that's where you find the Knossos diary. That's another quest. Then we have building number 6, the capital inside. Area 6, this whole area, but it's usually one big building and then a couple of other things around. You can loot here, a couple of duffel bags around here. In the back room you find some more food. Usually food around here. If you need food for some reason, just check it over here. Some dark cola, some chocolate sometimes, some other stuff, noodles, all these things, Iskras, all these things that you need for one of your initial Jaeger quests. Also a good way to find computer parts if you go up here. This building is full of computers. If you need CPUs, PSUs, graphics cards, things like that. You loot the computers over here. Some wires. There are a bunch of them here. Power cords, PSUs, CPUs, PCBs, RAM sticks, things like that you can find in these computers. There are several of them here. And then there is a second room, which brings you to the grenade launcher. Machinery gun thing. Right here, which is the other one that you need. So you need the one up there that we went, and this one. That's also a quest. You have to go to both of these thingy things. And then I think we sort of covered all of the quests on this map. So one of them is take the car. I showed you where the car was. One of them is find some medical items. You can find medical items all over the place, especially on the Emercom side. You need those 2 machine guns. You need to pick up the hard disk in the office. So you do those quests, you take the car out, then you already did like your first 4 initial quests. Then you have to go to some other maps, and then you can come back and do the office with the mine. You can do the BMW here with the Knossos thing, and then the winery. You can do those 3. So in about 2 raids, you can get every of the quests done here. That's in theory, of course. Sometimes you will die, you will run into some people, especially in the beginning when you start playing. You very often have a bunch of people doing that same quest, so you're gonna have to fight for those positions and for that key and things like that. So building number 6, and then you have building number 7, which is the Nakatani building. There's also a safe here outside that you can loot. On your way out, pick up some more money, some diaries or some other stuff. Just doesn't matter much, we lose it anyway. This is an offline raid, but over here, Nakatami building, that is area number 7, and you need to be a bit careful here. Don't go that way. If you go past that car with fire, there will be an invisible sniper. It's sort of an out of boundary sniper, and he will shoot you if you go too far. The extraction itself is in the building itself, as I will show you in a second. But I think this is the that high building that you also see on street. So it might be possible when 1.0 comes out that this is actually the building that we will spawn in, where our story starts, and that we can come down here and go in here, and that you start on ground 0. That would actually make sense since this is the tutorial map. And I think it's that same building that you see. So I'm guessing that is street over there with the theater on the other side, basically. But we'll see. This is something we cannot tell you because we have no idea about the story missions. We have never seen, nobody has ever seen them. So also here, dead bodies you can loot, duffel bags, weapon crates. I don't know, is a computer behind here or something? No. Quite some loose loot all over the place as well. Duffel bag over there. And seeing we spawned on the Emercom side, we actually have our extraction here. It even says so, exit. This one is always open. On the other side you have Emercom, which is always open. The other ones are a little bit more special. You need a code to extract on the Tar Tower sales office. You can transit to streets, that's another option. You can use a green flare, that's another option. You can take the car, but then you need to pay, that's another option. But Emercom on one side and Nakatami on this side, they are always open. So if you don't have any green flare, no money for the car, you don't want to transit to streets, or you don't have the code to extract on the sales office, then you're going to have to deal with the open extractions, which on this side is Nakatami, the other side Emercom. And then you just go down here and extract, basically. And that's sort of map number 1, let's say, ground 0. I started with this map because with the side missions, with the quests that we are doing, this is pretty much where everybody goes. First couple of raids of the wipe. Might be different in 1.0 if we have to go for the story mission somewhere else first. But you would think that the story would also go that you start on ground 0 somehow. And then you do your quest and you level up a little bit because, of course, you're gonna have to shoot some AI, maybe some players. Let's assume you survive the first raid, and then you go into your traders and turn in your tasks, and then they're gonna tell you. Some of them will tell you to go to woods, others will tell you to custom. So next up, in the next episodes, we will go over some other maps. And so when have you done your quest? Let me see. So I think it starts with prepper. Let me show completed. Now, if I remember the name of these things. Yeah, Luxury Life, for instance, comes from Prepper. This is the winery that I showed you. You have to go there, pick up the bottle, extract, and hand over the bottle. If you die with it, you have to go back to pick it up again. So, in theory, you could all do it in one raid, but in reality, usually not. But that's not the first one that I was looking for, though. Shooting cans, I think, is the first one. Yeah. So, Prepper gives you shooting cans, where he wants you to find those 2 machine guns that I just pointed out, and then I think he wants you to go to Woods to search his mission or something, and then when you turn that one in, then he's going to give you the winery quests, which means you have to go back here. So that's for that guy, and then Therapist will come up with first in line, where you have to go locate the Emercom station. That's the medical tents with the ambulance that I showed you. And you need to find 3 found in raid medical items, which you can find in these medical bags on the dead body, in the tent, in the ambulance. There's also a medical bag outside somewhere. Should not be that hard to find a couple of meds. So that is that one. And then Skier, I think it is. He wants you to extract with the car. So yeah, Prepper comes up with a quest from the machine gunnery. Therapist wants you to find some medical items. Skier over here, he wants you to go extract with the car, and then I think it's mechanic. I think. Yeah, mechanic is the one that wants you to go pick up the key from that dead body on the scientist. That's why it says optional, because you actually don't need the key. You can go through the window if you want, but let's assume you do it properly. Then you have to go to that scientist, pick up the key, go to that office, and this is the desk where you can find that hard disk. So that's Therapist, Prepper, Skier, Mechanic. That's 4 quests that you can do. And then once you've done those, you do some other stuff, 1 or 2 things on another map, and then you can come back and do this one here, which is the BMW. That's where you find the diary in that BMW, and then you have the mines, the office with the mine, and you have the winery for Prepper. That's sort of your second raid. Let's say everything goes right, then you wait till you have those 3 quests, and then you can come back to Ground Zero and try to do those 3 and get out. And that's more or less it on this map. That's why it's the tutorial map. You can explore the map and loot the different crates, find some meds, find some hideout items, which is also probably this is what people do normally with their first PMC raid. They're going to try to do as many of these 4 initial quests as possible, preferably all of them in one raid, but it's going to be a bit tricky. You're going to have to deal with AI, you're going to have to deal with players. You cannot just walk around in the middle of the road like we did now. That's not ideal either, but it was best to explain the 7 different areas on this map. As I said, not that big of a map, easy to learn. If really, you can always go to the wiki map, put a second map on your phone or on your iPad or on your second or third screen if you have those available. That's all possible. Should not be that hard to learn. You will also find a lot of these things all over the map, in crates, in filing cabinets, and those are things that you could, for instance, use in your hideout. On the bottom here, thing we haven't talked about is the hideout. You'll have different stations, they will give you different bonuses. You can also do crafts on those stations. In the beginning, you will have nothing. So you're gonna have to build up these stations at the moment. Let's put on some light for a second. You can just go over here to the menu, or you can just press enter and go actually in the hideout. The walls and so is something from a previous wipe. We could get these walls, and then you can install them going by quest and prestiging, and so you can get some other walls. There are some marble floors and ceilings and so available. And then you sort of have your decent... I don't know what the heck you're gonna do with the actual 1.0, but at some point or another, Nikita had the idea of making it in such a way that you could go from your hideout, you could actually go out. I don't know how they're gonna do that, but we'll see. We have the cultist circle here. You can sacrifice some things to it and then they will bring some things back after a few hours. And then you have here, it's one of those bunkers. You have a lot of extractions on other maps where you can go into a bunker. And then the idea was that there would be some sort of underground system or some sort that you would actually come here. But that didn't work out as planned. That's why they came up with the transits over time. Because the initial idea was to make it all an open world, but that performance-wise would probably not run very smooth. So they sort of stepped away from that idea, and then now they made these transits where you go into a transit and then you can transit to another map through a menu. Was not initially planned. Initially planned it would be an open world so that you could go to ground zero, you extract, you would come in here, and then you could go to whatever stuff that you had available. You could go to your stash, which is over here, I think. And then you click on here, and that's how you would get here. And then you could transfer some things and heal up and do some other stuff that you needed to do, and you go back out again. That was the idea, but I don't know if they can make that work. You have a shooting range over here, you have a laboratory, you have a workbench over here, Intel Center, which I still need to build. See, now on the flea market, there's like one thing that I'm missing or something to build it up. You have a Bitcoin farm over here, potentially generator, a scav case here in the corner, solar power station as well, water collector, boost collector next to it, kitchen, which once it will look like a kitchen. Now it's just a little stove here, but once you have it fully upgraded, it will actually be a kitchen. Med station, I have it on level 2 now. I think I could potentially upgrade it to the final level where it will actually look more like a med station. Heating space and the rest space over here. This will be more like if you have it on level 3, it will be more like a bed size resting space. So yeah. And then over here, once you broke out this wall, you can do gear rack here, Hall of Fame over here where you can save all your high value stuff, let's say. And over here you will have a gym, which I still need to build as well. Gear rack, 3 mannequin dolls that you can put some gear on, not that interesting. Weapon rack, you can put your weapons there, you can make it pretty long. Level 3s, then you have like a whole weapon rack here on this side. Shooting range, I have shooting range level 1, you can do level 2. It will have some static body things that you can shoot. And then level 3 has the moving things on top of it as well, so that's a fully upgraded shooting range. Most of the stations can go to level 3, except for Stash, which goes to level 4. If you buy the highest edition of the game, you will have level 4 to start with. So if you buy a standard edition, you can expand your stash and all that things, but then you're gonna have to upgrade that station, which is gonna cost you in total about 35 million or something, I think. So yeah, it's better to save up a little bit more money. I looked around personally. I looked around at some videos, at some streams, and I thought like, that's an interesting game. And then I thought like, but I'm not gonna work with 280 slots. So I decided to immediately go for the highest edition. At that time was the Edge of Darkness edition. And then later I upgraded to the Unhurt edition. Once they removed Edge of Darkness, we could for about 40 bucks or so, we could upgrade from Unhurt to from Edge of Darkness to Unhurt. That's how so I started with an Edge of Darkness and I updated as soon as they brought up Unhurt. If you want to start with the standard, you're going to have a lot of work trying to upgrade that stash in order to get the same amount of stash. You could potentially buy extra lines of space on the website. I think it's about $3 for a line, and you can maximum buy 14, I think. So for 40 bucks, you could, in theory, could get, I think it's 14, so yeah, it's 140 slots you could buy extra, basically. I could still do that as well, right? So I have 720 slots now. I could buy an extra 140 if I want to. It's $3 for one line of stash space, basically. But 720 is more than enough, especially once you get your hands on some cases and so. The gym over here is nothing yet. Maybe over time they will add something there. This is all something that has expanded over time. In the beginning, when I started playing, we just had this available. Then they had this wall coming in where they had Hall of Fame, then they brought the gym, and then last wipe or so I think they brought the gear rack. So it's possible that with the release of 1.0 that they add another station over there. Who knows? Maybe your pets or so. They have been talking at some point by having a cat in your hideout, so maybe you will have like some sort of pet corner or whatever. Cultist Circle is also something that they added over time. You can sacrifice some things to these guys and then a couple of hours later they bring you some loot back. Bit of random stuff. We'll just leave it at this for episode number 1. And then I guess we'll go customs next. Because Ground Zero is sort of where you start. You have these initial quests. I sort of gave you a feel about the map, showed you all the extractions available, and a couple of the quest spots. Now, on other maps that's going to be way more difficult because those maps are bigger. We will go over them. We will go over the general layout of the map. We will point out and give you some call outs on what they call those areas. In case you play with friends that you say like, for instance on customs, oh, Stronghold. But that's already a problem. In general, people call it Stronghold, but other people call that building Fort. For people from Texas, they call that Alamo. Different call-outs, always a bit of a problem. If you play Europeans and Americans together, that's also a problem in such a way that if you have a 3-story building, for Americans that is first floor, second floor, third floor. For Europeans, that is downstairs, first floor, second floor. Which means that if you're in the middle of a fight and you're playing with Americans and you're like, hey, I'm on first floor. For an American, that means downstairs. For a European, that means actually on the first floor, which for the Americans is second floor. So in Europe, the general rule is you start counting once you go up. So if you're like the bottom floor, or what we call downstairs, that's what the Americans call first floor. For us, that's like floor 0 basically. We just call it downstairs. And then if we have to go up 1 level, that's what we call first floor. But Americans are calling that second floor. So keep that in mind if you play with American friends or European friends or the other way around. I think the Australians are also going with the European connotation. So Europe, EU, they can understand each other. Europe, American, you might get some strange call-outs if you try to figure out where your teammate is, I mean by that. So that's something you need to make some agreements on before you start playing with friends. That you sort of know what you're talking about when you say first floor. So we'll leave it at this, a little bit of a startup guide, let's say. A bit of the menu, the different settings that I have. We had a look at the hideout, and we had a look at the first map being Ground Zero. From Ground Zero, some of the traders are going to send you to customs, other are going to send you to woods. So next up, in the next episodes, we'll have a look at customs, we'll have a look at woods. And then afterwards it probably will be shoreline. I'm sort of going by the way we do quests in order that we do them. So that's what I will do in these episodes as well. So we'll leave it at this for the video. So as for the video, I will say thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.